9th of January, 7:48 a.m. SS Burya, first class cabin. Passageway. Well, I mean, straight away I'm like, is that a mousetrap of some sort, or what's going on here? Ew, finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be, and this is the most luxurious accommodation? Yes, indeed. Kazuma-sama was being sent out on this study tour by the government. That's why I was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really? Must be awful. Oh, God. Oh, look over there. That's another crewman keeping watch. And he looks enormous. Even if he is sitting down. Assuming the ship protocols are going to be important there. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. Suppose... people in handcuffs? Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. Been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yes, I know, but the thing is... I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. Ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please don't give me that pitying look. Alright, let's start examining then. Straight away, I'm on the ship's protocols. There's a huge book on top of the table there, and there's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise, every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. Wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. Well, he might appreciate the compliment. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san. Even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. That's the way to the second-class area of the ship. Is something wrong? I was thinking about making a run for it, just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me. I might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman would surely shoot you dead. Oh dear. I'm sorry, perhaps I went a little too far there. No, I started it with my talk of running away. And there's no way I could run away while Kazuma's death remains a mystery anyway. Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer. That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright. Let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you. Could I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class lady's maid. Oh. We seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day, Susato-san. I'm not a sailor. My mother gave me a name. I am Senior Crewman Biff Strogenov. The best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. First class cabin area. Mr. Strogenov, about this first class cabin area. Here we are in the finest part of Burya steamship. For very important persons. Sort of very important persons. It's interesting that he's got, like, lines across his face. I think that's the thing I want to take in here, is that it's clearly like, almost like he's been sunbathing under a grill or something. Government officials, kings and queens travelling in secret. Many important persons. That is why I'm always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. Just... No. Just wondering if, like, if he had lines across his face, it'd be like, ah-ha-ha-ha! But... no. We got none of that, we got none of that. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean. But Strogenov is not animal. Thank you? If I may, I was wondering. Is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied? Is that a ya or a... I don't speak Russian. Suzuto-san, did you understand that? It sounded like da? Ah, right, okay. I think it's probably Russian for yes. Or no. I mean, that doesn't help. Genius. It's not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there is somebody in the next door cabin, at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. Again, I like this presentation thing they've got going on here. Passenger in the next door cabin. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's? His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. He's a very important Western gentleman. Western gentleman? Do not think about it, he has nothing to do with the murder of student boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in loading student from insignificant Far East Islands. That was harsh. Could you tell us where Mr. Roylott came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important. Is that right? That is not your business. Last night... Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Strogenov? Da. All time. So criminals like you cannot come in, or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is sad about student boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. Did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Het? Something like that? Suzuto-san, did you understand that? Might have been yet. It's clearly a no. Oh. Saw nothing unusual, nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises, or sense anything was wrong in some way. I said no. Sorry. I'm not so sure. Could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. Question of what does that actually mean, then? That's enough. I cannot say more now. Oh, it's time for me to report to Captain. We must return to cabin. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second-class areas, staying locked all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain, or, as English say, when the pigs fly. Yes, I understand. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly. Shall we? Definitely. Okay, so he's scarpered then. Investigate this again. The book on top of the table there really is huge. There's a pen with it too. Yes, I'm sure that's the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? We did this already. Why did it not have to take? The writing is so neat and precise, every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. Is it because of that little bit on the end? It's like now because he's not going to say that or something like that. I expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. Anyway, Look here. Last night's log is mostly blank. Ah, here we go. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. See this? This looks like a plan of the SS Burya. Shows each deck. Look. The Burya is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, come on. You can't be that naive. Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is? Displacement. Well, considering the Japanese archipelago, the islands of Japan. Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. No. They stick up from the ocean floor so high that they go above the water. Nothing to do with like buoyancy and water displacement, but okay. Well, I suppose so. That was it? You're not going to question that? Alright. What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh. An alarm. It says, press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this I have to sit. What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't touch it. This is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. Yeah, imagine how bad they'd take that. Like, what have you done? I wish everything would just stop. This ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect everyone else. Or anyone else. About the sign itself. Don't think we can get anything there. I was pressing it. Ah, a trap for catching mice. Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. What, mice or traps? Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what it's called. Cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. Yes, of course. Because they don't really have cows. Like, they probably do these days, but I'm thinking back then. In that period, they don't really have cows, do they? Which was an issue because of that whole, like, there would be, they'd be lactose intolerant and stuff like that because they wouldn't drink milk, they couldn't have cheese, all that type of stuff going on. It's really like, outside of Europe, most places are sort of lactose intolerant. Like, even the Americas, all of it, including the United States of. It's like, yeah, like the percentage of people who are lactose intolerant is quite high. It's like, it's especially strange for me, like as someone who lives in the UK. I think it's the UK has the highest percentage of, like, in terms of population, that are lactose tolerant. It's something like 99% or something really stupid in the UK. It's like, yeah, we drink a lot of milk because we have tea. That should be a big indicator there. It's like stuff like that. It's very much a staple of Europe, that the fact that we had cows and milk, and that also led to us having a lot of beef, a lot of certain meats and stuff like that. Just interested. Did that just auto-save? I'm sure I saw something in the bottom right. But anyway, diversion. Cheese. I wonder what that tastes like. You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really? But, I suppose you're right. And again, you don't know if you're lactose intolerant or not. You probably are. Especially back in this period. You weren't actually going to try it, were you? All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. Okay, let's check the door though. First class cabin number 1. Yes, that's our cabin. Not our cabin, it's Kazuma-sama's. Sorry? Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin. You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? Small as the wardrobe I've been calling home. These cabins are the finest on the ship. My own cabin in steerage is number 539, by the way. 500 and... How many cabins are there? That's a good point. Why is it 539? This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. A lot of dots. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. Or inquiries. How annoying. Oh, a scream. What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside. I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Sholmes. I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on in me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? And how the juice can I dispatch this muscular urge? What play can I kick? I think we should just go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. 9th of January. SS Bayer. First class cabin. Number 2. Ah. Who are you? Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. Woman, don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. Okay. True, this old man does appear to be the only person in here. Is that a plate of milk down there? In that case, who just screamed? Get out. All of you. Now. Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsby Roylott, I believe? Yes, that's me. And you are? I am the one and only, the actual Herlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt. No. I am a great detective among great detectives. One who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. The man uses that magazine like a business card. A detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself in the wardrobe this time. Maybe in the bag, though? So might I be so bold as to ask you to open that small traveling case? That's the bag. What? Don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that? The bag? Mate. Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk. Don't look at me. Oh. Oh my. Did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. Case just shook. Is it really actually going to be a snake? Why does he have the scissors? Leave now, otherwise I'll call the steward. So this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby Roylott. There's no doubt about it. The strange Russian man is hiding something. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly saber returns. What are you doing? Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? Like, what are you doing over there, mate? Like, come on. It's just terrible. You need only address me as Shlomes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Shlomes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Okay. Resting? Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of detection into service. Oh. And it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no. Actually, you're spot on. For once. Observe closely. Our Russian host is in the cabin. Mr. Roylott is clearly trying to hide something. Do you know what is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why? The truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusive for Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Oh yes, please. Go ahead. Well then, what you're about to see may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Uh-huh. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you. Or anyone. That's right. And Mr. Shlomes? I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read, it's a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment. Yeah, that's the problem with abduction. Shh, I must have complete silence. That has been an issue with Sherlock Holmes, by the way. It's that sort of thing, like, there's been moments where it's that sort of, he's got an idea in his head and that's an issue. Because he can't let that idea go. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I've quite made up my mind now. Hmm? There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I've reached two incontrovertible conclusions. Oh my. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you are about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? Huh? And number two, the conclusion I have drawn. You are, at this very moment, no less in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not? Good. Oh, now hold us, son. I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Shlome's great deductions with my own eyes. That was a great deduction? Think can deceive Mr. Shlomes? In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person. What ineffable twaddle. Oh yes, I have read about it countless times in the adventures of Sherlock Shlomes, and now I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but Oh, the colour has drained from Mr. Roylet's face. Oh yeah, he's got a bit blue, hasn't he? Looks like somehow both of Mr. Schlum's conclusions were right. How? How could you... How could I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Very well then. I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So do I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let's board the train of reasoning. But plainly, let's work through my deductions together. Oh, the great deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Old man's identity. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylet, obviously what catches the eye in the first place is his hat. I mean, yes, the scissors. Is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Ah, hold on, newspaper there, mate. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, staring us in the face. He's going to cut out a snippet from the newspaper, probably, wasn't he? We're on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Now, moving on. The question then begged is this. Why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylet? Once again, the answer is plain, with clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front page article, which it would appear you have read also, Mr. Roylet. There we go. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. It does. The evidence that reveals your true identity is this article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, villain Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. Conclusion? A revolutionary on the run. Topic 2. Wrongdoing. Okay. Now, as for my second conclusion. You are at this very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylet. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. But I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that travelling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation. A young lady, perhaps? One slight enough to fit therein? Don't be absurd. And what? What's that picture over there? And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the travelling case? Dear me. We are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup de duel betrays you. Yep. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. I mean, to me, this is very, very clear what's going on here. It's like, we're meant to be thinking it's him, when it's her. Like, she's hiding in plain sight. It's like, it's her. That's what's gonna happen. It's gonna be like, oh. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. I mean, the main thing is like, because it doesn't look like him. Like, he's got some similarity, but it's like, nah. There is another most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page, it's gonna be her. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Two. Clearly, because mine's gonna be different to yours. Your crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. It's got it wrong way around, hasn't it? Thus concludes Sherlock Sholmes' great deduction of the Russian enigma, Elemensky. Wrong.